Picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. Somebody calls you. You answer quite slowly, a girl with kaleidoscope eyes. Cellophane flowers of yellow and green towering over your head. Look for the girl with the sun in her eyes, and she's gone. Follow her down to a bridge by a fountain where rocking horse people eat marshmallow pies. Everyone smiles as you drift past the flowers that grow so incredibly high. Newspaper taxis appear on the shore, waiting to take you away. Climb in the back with your head in the clouds, and you're gone. Picture yourself on a train in a station with plasticine porters with looking glass ties. Suddenly, someone is there at the turnstile. The girl with kaleidoscope eyes.
Okay, so we chose the song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and the river in the first line is supposed to represent life, and in the second line, it says tangerine trees and marmalade skies, and tangerine and marmalade are supposed to be colors and represent joy. And then it calls the girl, she has kaleidoscope eyes, which is hinting at that she's confused and everything is kind of blurry for her. And the flowers are yellow and green, which are natural colors. And the sun is in her eyes, and it's saying that she's blinded by the light. So in the second verse, it says that they follow her down to a bridge by a fountain, and fountains represent youth, and they could also represent life. And it says where rocking horse people eat marshmallow pies. Rocking horse people make it seem like they're horses, but they're trapped and they can't move. And the next line, it says flowers, which again represent youth and happiness and spring. And it says the taxis you climb in the back with your head in the clouds, which is just kind of setting it up to be a dreamlike situation. And then in the third verse, it says picture yourself on a train, so he's gonna be going somewhere. And then with plasticine porters with looking glass ties, they're just looking through things, they're overly critical. And someone is at the turnstile. The turnstile shows the passage of time, or it can be a barrier. And again, the girl with the kaleidoscope eyes, she's confused and things are blurry.
So it starts out, you're on a boat in a river, and the river is just like the passage of life. And then it talks about cellophane flowers of yellow and green. And cellophane is like a plastic covering. So it's like an artificial barrier. You can see through it, but you can't get through it. And so the flowers are yellow and green, which is like youth and natural, which is ironic because the cellophane is so artificial. It also talks about how these flowers are towering over your head here, and then it also talks about how these flowers grow so incredibly high, and that begins the theme that things are always like so above you and out of reach. And then it talks about the girl with sun in her eyes, and so she's like blinded by the light, and that's the same as how she has kaleidoscope eyes. She's really confused and blinded. And then it says, and she's gone and you're gone. And to be gone, we said that it meant that you don't have a hold on reality. So it says, follow her down into a bridge by a fountain, and that's also him just like following her, trying to get her. And so the fountain, every time I see the word fountain, I always think of Fountain of Youth. So I think that the fountain introduces like the childhood youth feeling of this section. And so it says, where rocking horse people eat marshmallow pies, and rocking horse is like a childhood toy, and marshmallow pies are like sweets, and children love sweets. Everyone smiles as you drift past the flowers. The flowers is again a reference of like spring and youth, and that grow so incredibly high. And I talked about earlier how it's like everything is above your head, and I think that it's talking about such happiness of childhood. It's like you can't attain that happiness again. So newspaper taxis appear on the shore. We said that newspapers represent like history and reality because it's news. And so if it's going on a taxi, it's like moving toward you on the shore, which means it's like going on the passage of life because a river is life. So it's reality catching up to him. And then you climb in the back with your head in the clouds. So he's head in the clouds is like you don't really know what's going on. You're in a dreamlike state. So he gets in this taxi that's supposed to be taking him to reality, but he's not really realizing anything. And then he's gone, which again means that you don't really have a hold of reality, same as the girl with kaleidoscope eyes. And then it says, picture yourself on a train in a station. And a train is like constantly moving. It could represent the continuous movement of life with plasticine porters with a looking glass ties. Plasticine is a brand of clay, and the looking glass ties, it's like these people who don't have a real molded personality or like sense of self are critically judging others, which is hypocritical. And then the girl with the kaleidoscope eyes is again behind the turnstile, and she's unattainable because she's behind the thing that turns into a new section of someone's life. And then finally it ends with the narrator saying Lucy in the sky with diamonds 9 times. And so Lucy is in the sky, which is again above him. So she's like unattainable, and he's just like preaching her name, and he cannot attain her. So the last section of the Ciardi analysis is, what does the poem say to me? And we're answering the question, have I ever felt this way or experienced this emotion? And this song basically just talks about feeling inferior to everything, and you're never good enough. And I think everyone has experienced that before, so it's a very universal like theme and feeling.